This Thomas Franco guy's such a dick. Hey guys, welcome to the Retro Ranger wrap up. We are here live. Wrap up. We're here live. We are not late because of me and Daniel. We were
waiting for Larry Newbill.
We were
to make sure that he was in the room. Yeah. Once we found out he was in the room, we were ready to go.
It's football season. So.
Yeah.
Sports.
But today we're going to be talking about the Phantom. This is like a Phantom Ranger trio of episodes.
It is.
My favorite Ranger of all time. Let me tell you why I don't have my helmet here. It's because Josh is my next door neighbor now, and he drove today, and I have my helmet in my passenger seat of my car because I was preparing to come here, and then I was preparing to come here. And honestly, so Josh is my next door neighbor, and no joke, we were doing the wrap up yesterday, and in our Slack group, he was like, "Hey, we're gonna carpool." I couldn't though because I had to go to my dad's house, but he was like, "Are we gonna carpool?" And I was like, how come I never thought about carpooling?
I know, you live right next to each other.
Right next to each other.
Oh, my God.
It's a true story. So, I'll bring it next week, though, I promise. The helmet is coming. The whole suit. The whole... whoa. I was here. I brought the whole, top part in once. It's like putting on football shoulder pads.
It is.
Is it really?
It's
that bulky?
Yeah. It's gigantic.
You should just put it on L. Make L wear it.
Yeah, just make you wear the...
I'll be so buff.
But yes, we're gonna be talking about some of the Phantom Ranger stuff here. But Elle, how's your day been?
It's been pretty good. I'm getting a little bit over a cold after Halloween Horror Nights.
Okay.
My throat was super scratchy.
Scoot over a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, I heard you knocked Jezzer down at Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, I did.
Chat me up about that situation.
Survival.
He was in my way, and I was trying to escape, and just kind of shoved him to the ground.
You get in her way of escape, well then now you're in her way.
You and I yesterday we were with our homie Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good show.
It was fantastical.
Yeah, she's great. I will say this right now about every single Beast Morpher cast member that we've met. Phenomenal people.
Yeah.
Such good people. I'm talking Abraham's great. And Abraham's coming back on the show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think we have him in mid-October.
Excellent. Is that going to be for fan questions next month?
Yes.
Excellent.
Well, we actually have him doing something pretty cool, too. We're going to have him unbox his action figure.
Oh, cool. And we also have a super chat from Larry Newbill. What does he say?
Larry Newbill.
Larry Newbill says, another big win for the 49ers and Chiefs.
Man, Chiefs, I wish we could do a sports podcast. The Chiefs literally... They destroyed the Raiders. The Raiders came out swinging 7-0 in the beginning, and then after that, the Chiefs in one quarter scored 28 points. Ended up being 28 to 10. Because Raiders were up by 10, 28 to 10, and the Chiefs just dominated them after that. Raiders didn't do anything. Wow. But I mean, the Raiders looked really good against the Broncos last week. I mean, nobody cares about my football analysis, but regardless, hey, you know what we should do one of these days? What? I would love to do this for like a football season is like talk to as many Power Rangers as we can and represent. We have one Ranger represent all each team from every single 32, every single team in the NFL to do like a thing, and we follow them throughout the seasons and talking trash about their matchups. I think it'd be fun. It'd be a lot of fun. All right, but we're here to talk about Power Rangers, Retro Rangers, still in Power Rangers Turbo, unfortunately.
Yes.
Wait, did I say unfortunately?
Well, that's what we're all feeling.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's true. And since I haven't been on the show, I feel like it's still like a drastic change from our original cast to who we have now. I felt like that exchange because I was here that week.
We never talked about that.
Oh, that happened so quick without a whole lot of ceremony. What's up?
Oh, wait. Daniel, you can read that.
Our condolences. We didn't know about this for Neo Dragon Ranger. Sorry to put the brakes on the little things, but he says his mom passed away on the 1st of September of this year.
Oh,
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that sucks.
We're glad that at least we can try to bring some
entertainment,
levity and entertainment into your life while you're still here. So we're glad that we can at least do that. We are a family, so we definitely do care.
Yeah, we're so sorry.
Yeah, condolences to you, and rest in power to your mother.
Exactly.
But on to Power Rangers. That's a weird transition.
Yes.
So
the Phantom phenomenon.
Yes, but I actually had a question before we actually get into the Phantom phenomenon for you. The question is, if you were watching this back then, Power Rangers back then, and you knew that Tommy, Kat, Adam, and Tanya were leaving, what would it have been enough for you to stick around on Turbo, or would you have been like, you know what, I don't care, I'm out?
I would have already lost my interest with Turbo pretty early on as soon as like I found out Justin was a regular cast, and I'm actually really sad they didn't swap him out. I didn't know this was like Menudo and you like age out of the group, or like Peter Pan and you get too old and suddenly you can't be a Power Ranger anymore. It didn't seem like that was the case because I don't know, it was just never mentioned, so it kind of caught me off guard that was the one true reason that Zordon was like, yo, you guys are out, we're suddenly bringing in these new people, even though we've only had like an episode or two to get to know them.
Now, watching TJ, Ashley, Cassie, and Carlos, what do you feel about them immediately as soon as you see them?
I actually like Carlos, his development of being like, hey, I'm all for me, and then learning how to be a team player. I felt like that was really great. Same thing with Ashley. TJ always like wanting to help. It was enough to see why they were chosen as Power Rangers. Yeah. I don't know. I'm like okay with it. To be honest, I'm just going along with the flow of this season. It's not my favorite, so I'm just trying to power on through. Yeah. And I have high hopes for the cast switch. So
interesting.
We'll see. Because people talk about TJ all the time, so I know that he's probably a really
good
leader.
Let me ask you. So far from those new four, who's your favorite?
I actually don't have one yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yours would have been?
I mean TJ, because that's kind of like a default. So it's between kind of. Okay. So it's kind of like between TJ and Cassie.
Me, see, I think I'm Ashley.
The cheerleader. She's.
Oh wait!
Is Ashley the cheerleader?
Oh, right? Cassie's pink, right?
Cassie's pink. Ashley's yellow.
Actually, it's okay.
Cassie was the one that was like trying to be a wiener in the beginning. That's like,
yeah,
I don't want to help the reluctant hero. Reluctant
hero.
It's
TJ and Ashley.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also agree. It would have been TJ and Ashley.
Those are mine.
Right now it's TJ and Ashley. But I do like Carlos's development. That
like, he has the most character development so far, which means I feel like if that's on a upward take, I might like him the most. But I don't know. They're all just kind of equal playing level right now.
What if I told you guys that in some point in Cosmic Defenders, we're going to reveal the identity of the Phantom Ranger?
Wait, Cosmic Protectors?
Yeah.
You said Cosmic Defenders.
Cosmic Protectors. Did I say
Defenders? You gotta get the name right, man.
Yeah, man.
Cosmic Protectors. Well, Cosmic Defenders does play a part of this, but Cosmic Protectors, we're going to reveal the identity of the Phantom Ranger if Boom doesn't beat us there first.
All right. That would actually be really fun.
I have a.
Is it going to be you since you already have the suit? I feel like that would be really fun.
Crazy.
Let me just say, I have a great idea on how to do it, and it makes the most plausible sense. Where people would be like, "Damn, there's a whole reason." I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Don't.
But anyway,
let the people feel and experience the surprise.
Speaking of Cosmic Protectors, Elle.
Yes.
Where can people find that?
We are on Instagram and we are on Facebook under Cosmic Protectors. We are also on Patreon if you go to /Cosmic Protectors. Mm-hmm. We're on all the things.
And you know what helps Cosmic Protectors is when you join our Patreon. We are not asking for your money like other Power Ranger crowdfunding things, and nothing against those guys. But we are just want you guys to check it out, so we want your support. Other than that, though, you can also support us by getting a TeePublic shirt, or a shirt from TeePublic.
Yes.
We have a new shirt that just came out. Oh, I can show you guys a new one, too.
Oh, really? We do have a new shirt that came out. If you guys haven't seen it, it is Pineapple.
You haven't seen the Pineapple Clown one?
Oh, no, I have.
Yeah, no, Pineapple Clown is a really good one. And it's playing off of the whole It kind of connection. So it's presented by Rita Repulsa, essentially, and it's Rita Repulsa's Pineapple the Clown. And it's a really good episode, anyway, of Power Rangers itself. So the Pineapple the Clown one works well, and it's something you definitely have to check out. We do have a new one that we are getting ready to premiere, but that's
the one that I'm waiting for. The one for October.
The one
I'm waiting for the October shirt. I'm like 2 weeks in advance, but
yeah, right. October's premiere is going to be one that's still on that kind of.
I'm super excited.
Horror, I guess.
Yeah.
Horror mashup.
I feel like we should all get that one since we talked
about
that guy so much.
We're going to.
I agree.
We all gotta get that one.
We should get it in a different color, actually.
Yeah, we should.
That's a great idea.
Okay. All right. Okay. I like it.
But yeah, we have a lot going on, and if you want to check out our TeePublic store, we have great. I personally think I'm being a little biased here. We have the best Power Ranger shirts.
I do. I agree.
Out there.
They're mashups.
So
Ryan does really good designs.
Please.
So
thank you.
We have great Power Ranger shirts. Yeah, all designed by Ryan Lindbergh. You can check him out. He's our shirt artist.
Not smooth at all.
It's not smooth.
Nope.
He's also on Instagram if you want to check out any of his other artwork. He's a big supporter of ours and helps us make these amazing shirts.
He was also the one that helped kickstart Power Rangers Cosmic Protectors.
That's right.
So it all comes full circle.
Nice.
All right, let's talk about our first episode today, The Phantom Phenomenon.
Woo! something like a phenomenon.
So this episode is written by Chip Lynn and it's directed by Blair True. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to go over the synopsis. It's a spaceship arrives on Earth, and with it, the Phantom Ranger, a strange warrior in black armor with the powers of invisibility. His motives are a mystery to both sides, good and evil. When Justin's friend Nico discovers the hidden location of the Phantom Ranger ship, Divatox prepares an attack for the new arrival when he least expects it. Meanwhile, Bulk and Skull take jobs as security guards. First for a bank, then at a local gold mine. Who has local gold mines in their towns? Definitely not us.
No.
Well, it's Angel Grove.
Yeah,
Angel Grove has
Grove.
everything that the story needs.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's
So-
that room in Harry Potter.
Yes.
Room of requirement.
Yeah, there
So
you go.
the first thing I want to talk about with this episode is
Divatox really a villain?
she?
Because she's robbing banks and shit. Like, what is her ultimate goal? Is she trying to kill the Power Rangers or take over Angel Grove or the Earth, or is she just trying to be a rich
The
pirate?
biggest question is, why does she need money?
I don't know, but we need money, so thank you, Larry Newbill, for that super chat.
Yeah, that is correct. And Larry Newbill did hit us with the super chat. And Larry Newbill says, now it's Daniel's turn to wear the,
was that one
Tyranno
mine
Ale
yesterday?
shirt. That's right.
Ah,
I was
nice.
going to say, actually, the thing is, this is not my shirt. I just took Joe's.
No.
That's not true.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. Mhm. Just wearing Joe's shirt.
You wouldn't fit into my shirt, I don't feel like.
It don't fit into this one. So, yep, I'm wearing Joe's shirt.
Yeah, that's a great shirt, though. Thank you so much, Larry. He says there's a new package coming, so
I love this
there
shirt.
you go.
I really do.
So let's talk about Divatox for a second. Is she a villain, or is she just a criminal?
Like, I don't know. Like, the whole detonator thing that maybe explodes one building, but now she's robbing banks? Like, I don't know. I feel like her supervillain status has been on a downward spiral ever since we got introduced
But
to
I
her.
will point out something to you a little bit later.
Okay.
In one of the episodes, and you may rethink what you're saying about her right now. Watch.
All right, but this particular episode, I was like, Divatox, what?
Yep.
You know-
Why? I know you're a pirate and all, but it just seems like so petty to.
You
rob
were
a
just
bank.
talking about something that really resonated with me, and it had nothing to do with actually anything you were saying. But
Oh, then.
But it
Let's
did-
segue into this.
it did resonate for me, and what you said is, what is Divatox? Is she a criminal, or is she this big? Is she like just a petty thief or a petty criminal, or
Yeah.
like this kind of like evil overlord, right?
Yeah.
Then
Especially compared to like Rita Repulsa, Zed, the Machine Empire. Like, why is she even here? Like, she's the weakest by far out of every villain that.
But
we've
then I
seen.
reflected
right.
on my own life, and I thought I says to myself,
Okay.
that you have this like you came in like this badass image like a Lord Zed. Then you get a girlfriend, you get domesticated Zed, and you turn into a little bitch cake like Lord Zed. And I was like, that was me. I was Lord Zed.
And now you're a bitch kid.
Now I'm a little bitch
Yeah, you're a
cake.
little bitch cake, man.
What happened to my life? No, I love it. But anyway,
It's required to say that.
back to this. Let's not veer off topic too much. But what do you think? What's going on with our girl Divatox? And by the way, one thing we didn't touch on was that Divatox from the movie was a different actress in the TV show.
The TV show,
But
that's right.
now this is back to being the movie Divatox.
Okay.
So, and there's a whole debate about that. But I don't know if we're here yet though. But what do you think Divatox is?
My thing is, at this point, it was like, okay, I got why she was counting all the gold and everything. You're a
Yes.
pirate. You plunder,
Yeah,
etc.,
of course,
etc.
of course.
But I guess now that because she's a modern pirate, it's like, well, I just want money. I want something that equals up to a monetary value.
Why doesn't
and I
she
can't
put her
just go.
detonator in one of those and just take it? Like, I don't know. Or, like, you live at the bottom of the ocean, like, go rob the Titanic or something.
Something
I
like
don't
that,
know.
right? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well,
You
the
go
old
for
lady in
something
the
tragic.
Titanic that threw that jewel over, she wasn't real. I don't think that jewel was actually on the Titanic.
And Divatox is real?
I mean,
well,
that's
yeah.
true.
I mean, she has that little
Fair
eye
point.
thing that could go around looking for
Around
buried
anywhere,
treasure and
as long
stuff.
as it's
And,
water,
like,
it pops right up.
yeah, it could be out of our cans
So,
right now.
Yeah. Oh, God.
All right, let's talk about this. So, Daniel, can you answer me one question?
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about some of your highlights.
Highlights of this episode for me. The bank robbery. Honestly, the bank robbery was stupid and funny. I had moments where I chuckled at it because of its sheer just, like, ridiculousness. The whole thing of what's his name having a beard and just walking out.
Elgon?
And it was like, yeah, and now you don't notice that he's a monster because he's got a beard. It's fine. We're watching a kid's show. You know? So accept it. But when he was going and he was like, all right, just untie his shoes. Like, this is me being sneaky and evil. Untie his shoe, and then I'll tell him his shoe's untied. And that's it. I was like, it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been, I thought it was going to be tie his shoelaces together. So this way he won't chase us. No, he's too incompetent. He won't even know that we're stealing. Just untie his shoes.
Now, answer me this question. Coming from Zeo to Turbo, I felt like Zeo was really starting to dig deep in the characters.
Yeah.
With Turbo, this is definitely regression.
100%
Definitely regression. But do you feel that it's a regression because of the season they had to adapt for Sentai? Or do you think it's a regression because of the new characters that we currently have?
I don't know. It's kind of hard because they get to pick what Sentai series that they want to adapt, right?
Yeah, but at that point, they were going year to year. So
I see. So chronological order and like this already being a very kind of slapstick, tongue-in-cheek thing. I don't know, but I feel like the background characters, all the American footage should be very well developed, and you're just trying to fit the Sentai footage into the stories you already have, what they have been doing. So I don't really understand why it's like this.
And that's where I think it had to be more of a level of the writing. I don't think it has to do with the cast, because the cast actually, for what they are given, they act the stuff out of it. They actually are really good. The cast is really good when you take the time to evaluate their performances.
They are all extremely
good. And you really get to see that shine when we get to space.
Yeah.
Because you'll see how good they are in space.
Okay.
But I feel like this. Let me ask you another question. With the new cast that we have, what are you wanting to see from each one of the new characters?
Oh, man. I just want them... Like, the whole thing that I want for Power Rangers is it to age up with the group that it started with and become, like...
That's what Zeo did.
Yeah, and I really, really like that, and bringing in the side characters and everything else, but, I mean, they're all kind of thrown into this, so it kind of feels like Mighty Morphin all over again, where it's like, hey, they didn't get training, they're not, like, slowly introduced over time, they're a brand new group altogether right now. Justin is the one that's the most experienced, which is super weird, so I'm hoping he will stop being super whiny.
Which makes, I mean, honestly, do you equate more experience with being a leader?
Not always. Kind of like, especially I just finished Go Go Power Rangers, so I know why Jason was picked and why Zordon's like, hey.
I love that.
I like that too, where Zach is like, why this dude? And it totally makes sense. So I don't know, but TJ already seems like the leader.
He does.
He fits the Red Ranger role in that cookie cutter shape where it's like, I'm gonna help people, this is what I'm gonna do. Everything else versus Cassie's like, I don't really want to do that. Like, self-preservation's my thing.
I would almost go as far to say that and argue that TJ is probably the most ready to be a Red Ranger than Jason or Tommy.
For sure. He's willing to put his life at risk as a civilian with, like, no investment into anything else that's going on.
Because I feel that Jason kind of got chosen. He was like, all right, I'll do this.
Yeah, I'm the Red Ranger.
Right, where Tommy kind of inherited it, and he was kind of like,
I learned from Jason. I want to be a good leader, too, and... You know.
I gotta point this out. This is something that just jumped out to me. Layla says the issue with Sentai. The issue is the Sentai. Power Ranger is a mess, and mixing Japanese comedy with American comedy is mixing water and oil. She says the two just became too much of an issue.
Ingenuity and creativity, there is a way that you could still make it dramatic. There is still a way to bring in the comedy in a genuine fashion, and I just feel like they're not doing it. Like, the thing that trips me out is Justin grows to a large man-sized body, and his voice is like, "Hey guys, I'm still Justin.
No.
I mean, honestly,
his friend notices it at one moment.
Yeah,
his friend notices.
I honestly don't know why that. Like, if you're going to do that, why not do it like the Billy Batson Shazam way?
Yeah,
exactly. Become a man, right?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
it doesn't make sense.
I think for them, they're like, we still have to make sure that the kids know that it is him, because they think that, oh, these kids may be stupid.
He's wearing
and they
blue.
Might not get
His suit is blue.
But once again, they're thinking kids may not get it. Kids may be.
But
stupid.
see, they're pandering to the lowest common denominator on this, and kids are incredibly intelligent. They're more intelligent than they're giving them. Like,
and they're honest.
Dude, I agree with you, because the thing is, it's a clear example that, yes, kids can't understand it. Hence, that's why Shazam exists. That's why Captain Marvel was there. So, yes, it makes sense. It can't happen. But yet, they just didn't want to deal with it.
Yeah, the writers are definitely pandering to, like, a younger age audience in this, and they absolutely don't.
I do need to respond to one comment. Tom Craven.
All right.
I love you. He says, I love you guys, but seriously, during Sunday Night Football, Tom, I love you too, but it's the Eagles and Falcon. Who gives a fuck? So, we're going to move on there.
Also, here's a question I want to ask. Why did the old lady bring her groceries into the bank?
I don't know. She was just on her way going home, and she's
Hey,
like,
listen, I don't
know,
question
man.
old people anymore. They do weird things. Josh will be the first to tell you.
Right? They're just like, look at it. That's how it works. Someone's going to steal them in my car. I'm just going to take them out. I'm like, no, old lady. No one's going to steal these groceries out of your car.
I don't really get it.
Someone's going to
Old
take
people,
them.
like my dad still uses the club. Like, I don't understand it. It's just
that's true.
one of those
That's
things
true.
where it's like old people,
don't
right?
make sense to me. They don't.
well, the other thing that didn't really make sense to me, what was my favorite thing about this episode, since you already answered the question, is like the Wonder Woman car. The Phantom Ranger comes up, has an invisible spaceship, and it's just like, what?
Well, you know what?
Where'd you come from, and why is your ship
Honestly,
invisible?
the
And, like,
coolest.
info.
This is the thing. The coolest part about Power Rangers Turbo is the Phantom Ranger.
Yeah, for sure.
And even our next week's episode when we get to General Havoc, it's even better. But with that being said, I feel like there's such an opportunity here to turn the season around.
Especially
and then
since
they
we were
just
already
let it
introduced
go.
to the Gold Ranger, and they were building up the Gold Ranger for so long. I feel like this
Yes.
is like
Well,
the new way to introduce it. The new Ranger.
That's actually a great point. And I'm really curious about this because I think that one thing Power Rangers Zeo did brilliantly,
Yeah.
better than any season, was it kept you guessing who the Gold Ranger was.
It was, and they had those red herrings in
I love
every
that.
single episode, and that's actually like I already know how we don't know anything about the Phantom Ranger, but I'm like, damn,
But
I
even
really want that.
the
for
payoff,
this.
the payoff was really good.
It
too,
was
though.
really good.
Because once you find out, it's Jason.
And
Yeah.
Jason's back, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, are him and Tommy gonna like fight
Yeah,
to be
right.
the leader?
And I
No.
think but there's two ways of introducing a Sixth Ranger.
Okay.
One is the Gold Ranger way, which
Yeah.
worked out brilliantly
Yes.
because you had a great payoff. And the other is the way that you do it with Tommy, where you introduce a character in that episode, and you automatically grow attached to that character because he's so badass.
Very
right?
true.
So there's two different ways, and both are right ways.
Yeah.
However, I feel like more recent seasons, not Beast Morphers,
Mm-hmm.
but other seasons prior to that, would give you the Gold Ranger, but once you kind of guess who it is, but it's like, okay, it's some dude I never knew, and I don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what does it matter? What does it matter? If
Right?
you're going to show me something, here's somebody you've never spoken to before,
Exactly.
and here it is. You're like, I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care. Congratulations, Jalen. You should talk to us on Quest for Player 2. That's on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Moving on.
Sometimes,
I love that plug. That was
Sometimes
awesome,
I should
right?
really call into that show. Just kidding. Let's go back to this though. So, you got some more highlights for me in this episode?
Actually, no. That was about it.
Elle, what you got for me?
There wasn't. I mean, there was no monster. There was no real Sentai footage. It wasn't like a whole lot to discuss, other than the introduction of the Phantom Ranger, and that my curiosity is piqued now. Not too invested in the other Rangers. I don't really like Justin still. It's just weird.
I mean, I think
It's weird that he morphs into a man's body.
Like, I got a
just wants to
spam
be
caller,
a kid.
guys. Spam risk.
God.
But it's like if he was just a kid. And...
Watch this. You guys want to watch this? Hold on. This is a spam risk call on my phone.
All right.
It's done, and there's blood everywhere.
You just do that on a spam call. Trust me. You guys, everyone wants someone never to call you back. You just say that.
That's actually pretty
it's
good.
done. There's blood everywhere. Get the cleaners. And then hang up. Trust me.
Honestly,
Never get
so
a
I
call
think
back.
Power Rangers Turbo is very much like Carson Wentz. Like, you want it to be really good, and it starts off kind of decent, and then it just shits the bed.
Wow!
Tom Craven.
Wow!
Tom Craven said he's an Eagles fan, so I had to get that in there. Sorry, that was a football reference for a lot of you guys that don't know.
Bravo!
Let's talk about this. So, Elle, give me some of your highlights for this episode. I feel like this is gonna be a longer episode, and I don't care.
The Vanishing Act.
Yeah.
So we're moving on to
No.
Oh no.
We're still on the same Phantom
No,
phenomenon.
that was my highlights. Was the
Oh,
Phantom
okay.
Ranger?
Yeah.
We don't know who he is. He has an invisible spaceship. But yeah, I mean, without being a monster, without there being like any real stuff going
Yeah,
on,
sure.
it wasn't that interesting to me. Hey, Larry Newbill,
Larry
thank you so
Newbill.
much for the super chat.
I
one
don't
more
know,
time.
okay, Super. My phone didn't go off. You have to audibly hear
Yeah,
it.
you have to hear it. You have
My
to
phone
hear it.
just vibrated. I answered it because it was a spam risk call.
But good eye for being an eagle eye viewer.
That's like an Easter egg for hashtag
Yeah,
show.
exactly.
That was way back. That
here-
was even before. I feel like.
So let's ask this question real quick. So far, we do get the introduction of the Phantom Ranger. What do you guys think about him so far? First of all, he looks completely different from any other Ranger that's ever existed.
Yeah,
Which I like
love
a
it.
lot.
I like the helmet. I like the suit. I think it's super interesting. He doesn't talk, so
His,
I don't know. I like him. Intrigued.
his visual aesthetic is kind of a shock because it's just different from everyone else's, like you said. And that can kind of throw you off, where it's like, whoa, so now I do wonder where his alliance do lie. Is he good? Is he bad? But then you see immediately, okay.
He's in a
he
ranger
is good.
suit, so I'm gonna assume
Well,
that he's
is it a
good. You
ranger
know?
suit?
He looks like a ranger suit.
It
It's close.
does not
He's
look
got a
like a
helmet.
ranger suit.
I mean, I guess Tommy was evil in the beginning too, so you never know.
I mean,
so,
true, but it doesn't look like a ranger suit to me. It looks completely different from what we know of a ranger suit. It's like the space cowboy, the space cop kind of thing, but we've already seen a space cop, so it's more like a space SWAT kind of thing. Where he looks like he'd be walking with a heavy gun.
I feel like
in this universe that's a very distinct
he looks
helmet suit.
he looks very much like a motorcycle, like this motorcycle aesthetic.
But it's still Ranger-esque. I get what you're
like
saying.
in this world, there's either the aliens, humans, or rangers. Like we're not exposed to any other weird, costuming.
So
just like his alliance, at first you're thinking it could have been anywhere, but you see that he is good. He is invisible. His plane also disappears too. Yeah. And I'm like, he outsmarts them by the plane disappeared. You guys thought it exploded. Here it is. It's back again. Let's move on. I was like, wow.
I remember watching this episode back in the day, and there was a lot of speculation whether the Phantom Ranger was Billy, whether it was Jason, whether it was
Billy
Tommy.
got old and haggard, though, and I think he's dead on that other planet at this point.
Didn't they cure that?
Did they cure his age?
I thought they did.
Yeah, they cured that. Remember that episode where they cured
I don't even remember.
They cured. He's like, I'm just gonna stay here, and this isn't my voice.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
Maybe the real story is they kidnapped Billy and killed him.
They killed Billy and they put on the
they
face.
just put his head.
And they were trying to pretend like it was okay, but he was dead.
They pulled a Hulk Hogan where it was like, all right, let's put his dead body there.
Never mind. He was actually alive according to canon, but in my own story,
he's dead. Yeah, my own story, he died.
There was also a theory that it was all the spirits of all the past Rangers. Which is kind of actually Sentai actually took that theory and used it for one of their big
That's a really
40th
crowded
anniversary.
suit in there.
There was also a theory he was just a robot. There was a theory.
We already got
Rider, but we already have our robot now.
Theory that he was Zordon's son.
Yeah, people said that.
I can see that.
People said he's a time traveling Billy. All these things. Yeah. Or it's an old Billy still, and he has to wear the suit. They say to still keep him alive. I've heard that. Like,
what would be really funny if that person in the suit was Ernie, and all along Ernie was a ranger, and he was there to help watch over stuff, and that's why he was so involved in the Rangers' lives. And it turns out that he's the Phantom Ranger.
My God.
And he was like, "I had to go. My other planet needed me. I'm so sorry. I had to abandon you, but I'm here now.
No, I'm here again. Yeah.
That would have been a fun surprise.
Would have been a fun surprise. Yeah. So there's different theories on who he could have been, and so nobody really knows.
Same question I did have, Arturo did ask, but why is the Phantom Ranger referred to as a Ranger, just instantly? I still don't understand it. It's just like Robo Knight being called the Sixth Ranger. It just doesn't make any sense to him.
He looks like a Ranger. Like we said, there's only 3 categories of people in Angel Grove. You're a Ranger,
monster, or
human.
Alien, monster, ranger, or human.
I don't think he is. Is he from? I mean, they specifically say he's from Eltar.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. They mentioned, it's from Eltar, and I was like, okay. But just because he's from Eltar, I mean, doesn't mean he's.
Maybe he just got his powers on Eltar. Maybe he's not from
exactly.
Eltar.
That's
Maybe
what
it's just
saying.
Eltar powers.
Yeah. He could have killed someone and just ran off, and they were like, there it goes, just like that. Like the doctor took the TARDIS and just ran off, and the same thing.
All right.
Who knows? But
it was never confirmed that Billy was the Phantom Ranger. That is false information. The Phantom Ranger's identity has never been revealed.
No.
I will say, though, that it's...
We will.
It's also likely... I have a theory. I have another theory.
Ooh.
What if the Phantom Ranger is Matt from Go-Go Power Rangers? Now, here's the reason why I think it could be Matt.
But Matt wasn't introduced in this. If Matt was introduced in this, I would be 100% on board.
Here's the reason I think it's Matt, and they're going to introduce it in the comics, though. And this is my theory. Is that he knew that all of the Power Rangers were the Rangers. Yes. And he's like, I know who you are, but you can't tell me.
Right.
What if it's the opposite, where he's like, you don't know who I am, and I can't tell you?
That would actually be really interesting if there was some kind of pact where, if you expose yourself to me, I'm then able to tell you who I am.
Exactly.
Maybe.
But Matt made a lot of stupid things by going out in human form and being like, hey, I'm just here and they know my name and everything else. I don't know. They could write the story around that and it would be super interesting, but also I'm like, bye, Matt.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Matt. It was fun, but goodbye.
We only have 3 rules, and I love how Go-Go Power Rangers, we respect those rules.
Yeah.
We can't just willy-nilly fucking tell everybody that we're Power Rangers.
We just can't go all crazy with this.
Yeah.
Now, seeing that this episode essentially was, even though they're not addressing it that way, was a part 1, do we want to give, our number rating to it, or do we want to just...
Yeah, let's give our number rating to it. What do you guys give it in the chat? But right now, what do you guys give it?
Yeah, well, I'll wait for you guys. Myself, I'll give this episode because it was the introduction, and that was kind of cool. But besides that, nothing else was great about it. This episode could have been great, but it got knocked down a little bit. I'm going to give it a 3.
It got knocked down for me only because Justin is a Power Ranger and knows that, like, hey, I'm a really good friend and I'm going to keep this secret from you even though it's putting everyone else in danger. So that knocked it down definitely to a 2 for me from 3.
I'm going to go 5 because the Phantom Ranger's in the episode.
Moving on.
Let's move on to our next episode. Oh, we got notes and errors. So
and we also didn't read the rest of the scores.
While we're waiting for you guys to go ahead and give us your scores, we're going to give you the notes on this episode.
This is the notes. First appearance of the Phantom Ranger, whose identity is never revealed. There is also not a monster of the day in this episode.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Errors, despite having alien technology on their side, neither the Rangers, Alpha or Demetria, can track the Phantom Ranger using heat signatures.
That's why he's a phantom.
There you go. Let's move on to our next episode, The Vanishing Act.
All right.
What's
scores?
Oh, yeah, we'll do that one too.
Blackman gives it a 4.5. Kamen Rider Blue 01 gives it a 4. Jared Hodges a 4. Larry Newbill a 4. Let me see. Thomas Franco gives it a 5. Tom Craven 3.5. Torres gives it a 10, so that counts as a 5. Edward Sanchez gives it a 5. Layla says 0 out of 5 because I refuse to rate Turbo. She's sticking with it. She hates it. She hates Turbo. One of the worst seasons for her.
Have you seen Samurai?
Oh God, is Samurai worse?
Secret of Secrets
I think Samurai's terrible.
Gives it a 4.
Oh.
All right, so
And a lot of people like Jungle Fury too. I didn't like that season either.
Oh boy.
Matter of fact, there's a lot of seasons I don't like. Now that I really think about this.
Just like, hold on, wait a minute.
Back.
You know what? What the hell am I doing on this show?
I really like Operation Overdrive. I'm not a huge fan of Mystic Force. Maybe a second viewing will do it better.
Well, that's why we are making our own Power Rangers comic to make up for all these seasons that absolutely suck. Check it out, Cosmic Protectors.
That's right. I do like that. That's true. That
honestly,
is very true.
I hate to say this,
why we're doing
and I say this all the time. I've said this a lot, but I hate to say this. But truth is, I think Time Force is super overrated.
Really?
Yes. I don't think Time Force is nearly as good as people think it is.
Wow.
I'll go back and watch it again because I've seen it once. I'll go back and watch it. But I do not think it's as good as. I mean, it has more complex storytelling and it's deeper, but there's like stuff that people completely overlook. Like they have to get day-to-day jobs, and it's like what? They have these mutant powers. What? And the truth is, the villain in that whole season's not even a villain. Like he was a prisoner that's trying to let other people free. It's like it doesn't make any sense. Whatever.
Actually, he was a freedom,
we get there.
He was a freedom fighter. Really,
right.
The villain is actually, when you watch it, the villain is actually a freedom fighter.
Oh, geez.
We had an article about it on the hashtag
and it did so well.
Yes, because he's actually a freedom fighter, and they're actually the ruling regime. So it's really like, oh my God, I'm trying to fight against them.
Actually.
And tell
I
them
wrote a
how
brilliant
bad
article
they are.
about it.
It was so good.
We'll post it in the link. In one of
Yeah.
the comments or the description for this show, so you can check it out.
Go ahead with it. We got more scores.
No, actually, they're good with the scores. They are
I
now.
did write this article.
They are going with you now concerning everything that's going on with Samurai Megaforce, Dino Charge, Ninja Steel. Crap. Wait, what? Them are fighting words. Says Blackwing. I skipped Samurai and Megaforce. Says TDP and Ninja. My gosh, wow. You really started something here, Joe. Tom Craven is with you. Time Force has always been seen with rose-colored glasses, and that's the problem.
Yes.
Wow.
So we had that link in the chat right now if you want to check out that
Exactly, if you
article
wanna check
written
out that
by
article,
Joe about
find
why
out.
Time Force sucks.
Yeah, or why it just wasn't truly understood.
I wrote
for what
back
it should have been.
the year 3000 in Power Rangers continuity is a place I wouldn't want to live. That's my first sentence. So
It's like somebody looking back at our current times, figuring out Trump is in charge.
right? Seriously. All right, so let's move on to our next episode because some of these we're gonna get through. We're gonna fly through.
Yeah.
But this is written by John Fletcher and directed by Yuri Alexander. L, what was this episode about, and what were your highlights?
I don't know. The whole thing is like still more Phantom Rangers, and they like disappear and can't interact with things, but Piranhatrons can beat them up.
That is
but they can't beat them up. I don't know. There was a lot of like continuity, like consistency errors in this that kind of just threw me off. But my favorite thing about this is Boken Skull as the Energizer Bunnies coming in to sing Happy Birthday. That was definitely 100% the highlight.
That was cute.
Yeah.
And they got rid of him just as quick.
Yes.
But ultimately, yeah, that was a big problem. Alpha says to the Rangers, were in a different dimension, and that's why
which makes
they
sense.
can't
That's
talk.
fine.
They can't talk to him, but they can walk through them and the console.
And they
then
phase through
immediately
everything.
after we have if Angel Grove has also shifted into this different dimension or a plane of existence.
Yes.
How were the Piranatrons able to still fight them while they were invisible? I don't understand how we're able to level out the invisibility here. And I can phase them into this different reality or this pocket dimension.
I can see if they're in the same dimension. Like, Piranatrons are also sent to that. Like, they can fight them, but the Power Rangers weren't able to touch them. I don't know.
Yeah, it was
weird. It was a weird thing. I accept it because, based off of everything else in Turbo so far, I'm like, it's not the worst.
The finale is amazing, though.
Is it really?
Power Rangers Turbo,
right.
yes. It's legit.
Okay.
And then we do have Cassie, who is definitely falling in love with the Phantom Ranger.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like tall, dark, literally like dark suit.
Yeah, right. It was like,
presumably,
come on, tell us more.
presumably handsome,
but
like, may not be.
Yeah, who knows?
But the thing is, you have to assume at some point the writers were going to pay that off because why even set that up?
That's what I was thinking. Like, oh my gosh! So this is great. If you're watching for the first time, you know nothing about it, or what's going to happen in the future. You're like, oh my god, they're really going to get her to connect
But
with
it's
him.
really weird because in the beginning, I thought they were setting up Cassie and TJ like they were setting up Ashley and Carlos. Like obviously, like they were already trying to pair them off.
Yeah, that's weird
And
too. By the way, that
to
gets dropped out of nowhere.
Oh really?
Yeah,
so
you'll
to see
see.
Cassie already with the Phantom Ranger. I was like, didn't you have some weird chemistry with TJ? Like he's standing right there, girl. Like.
And Therese says, y'all are overthinking it. We're not overthinking it. It's called a plot hole.
Yeah.
And it's
also called the review. I mean, I could sugarcoat this and say, hey, this was a great episode for kids ages 4 to 7.
Yeah, that's it. No, this is what we do. It's a Retro Ranger review wrap up, which means we're going to go ahead and review it. We're going to tell you exactly what we think about it. We're going to tell you.
But here's the thing, though. The reason why I have a problem with, not Chip Lynn, but people like Chip Lynn, people that did that wrote episodes. And said, you know what, we don't know who the Phantom Ranger is. We never intended to reveal that identity. If that was really the case, dude, you're a shitty writer because you don't pay anything off.
And the shotgun, look it up.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
There's no reason to introduce something if it's not going to come into play later.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, like this, I like that the girls saved the boys, that they got separated, and the girls were like, "Oh, we gotta save them." That was another highlight for me.
But the only problem was for me was they showed up and they were here to save it, and then who saves them?
God. So
that's what took it away.
Okay.
It took away their agency
Where
because it was like, here
does
they are.
Tarian and like all this other stuff? There's like a lot of things I don't understand, especially in this episode. Every time Blue Centurion shows up, it's like, where do you come from? Do you live with Ninjor? I can imagine them having a flatting situation. And
well, there is a Blue Centurion Ninja backstory in the movie.
Is there really?
Yeah.
I want them to have like the most mundane flatting situation. We're like, oh, let's
but
get groceries.
It's definitely a comedy. Like it's definitely taken.
It should be. I can't imagine
it's
it
the
as
odd
anything
couple
else.
in a way. They get on each other's nerves, but they definitely have a symbiotic
I imagine it of like
relationship.
What We Do in the Shadows and kind
Yes,
of just
it
like,
is.
hey, you know, like, oh, it's about 3 o'clock. Let's go save the Power Rangers.
Are you an emotional vampire?
I just do find it weird that Cassie never gets this closure on this dude that's like
never.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre to me.
And did we all notice? Are we not going to mention the fact that Boken Skull wearing, BDSM kind of mask?
Yes.
The leather mask at the end.
Oh yeah, that's
and
fine.
Wait! Why is it fine?
They're taking odd jobs, man. They went from being like detectives and now they're just doing whatever they can to make money.
That happens in Power Ranger Time Force too.
It's hard. Like once you graduate college and you're not. I mean, once you graduate high school and you're not going to college, you don't have a lot of options, and they're just. Their resume is pretty phenomenal at this point, though. So I feel like they don't need to take this one. But I mean, like they like playing dress up.
I was a cop. I was a detective. I'll work HR. I don't know, like something, right? But nope.
Lieutenant
not there. Not there at all.
Yeah. So there are some definite problems in this episode, but I think that you watching this is just a one-off. You don't know that this isn't going to get paid off. No. You don't know you're not going to get his identity.
I didn't know. Like I'm still hoping that the reveal is going to be like something.
I almost think at Power Morphicon, we should do a panel and invite different Power Rangers, male Rangers from different seasons, and we should do a panel called "Who Was the Phantom Ranger?" It's kind of like you run through each thing and you're like, try to figure it out.
This could be this.
And it's always somebody different at the end of the panel. Like you do the audience vote on why they should be the Phantom Ranger. It'd be hilarious. But yeah, I think that it's super weird that we never get this reveal. But also, This episode in particular, I think is, I don't know, it feels very middle of the road to me.
Yeah.
Right?
It feels very
It doesn't
passable,
really
like, I forgot about
develop
it. It
anything
runs.
for our Phantom Ranger. He still doesn't talk. He saves the day, and
A little
you know.
bit, that's it.
I do like, if this is the thing though, if this were to paid off, it would have been a lot better. Like it would have been
Yes,
like, okay,
yes.
he saves the day, like the Gold Ranger and Zeo.
Yeah.
He saved the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you knew he was a big thing, and even they were like, "Who are you?" And he's like, he just kind of leaves, right?
Yeah.
Zeo was Phantom Ranger done right. I think.
It's true.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
It was,
This
and
one-
it wasn't even really Jason. It's Trey of Triforia or whatever, and he wasn't able to have the power. So they had this whole backstory for him of why it was Jason, and it's like, oh, okay, I get it, makes sense. I like this.
So
So I'm holding the same expectations for Phantom Ranger at this particular
So
moment.
who is the voice of Phantom Ranger?
His name is something.
I tried to look it up, and I actually couldn't find
There
the
is a
actor
voice.
for it.
It's like double A. It's like
Aardvark. I feel like that's the
Something
only word
Assad
I
or
know
something?
that starts with two A's.
it's
Arnold Assad.
no, I know it.
No.
I do know
Dang.
it. His name is Ali Afshar.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because
that's
he's
the
got a
voice.
very nice, welcoming kind of, but yet still firm voice, you know, where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
if he told me, like, stay here and don't move, I'm going to blah, blah. All
I'm
right,
gonna
yes, sir.
duplicate my voice in Cosmic Protectors to sound like the Phantom Ranger.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That would be great. From now on, people are like, wait a minute, what? You're like, you didn't figure it out?
anyway, in this episode, guys, what do you rate it? I mean, what are some? I mean, we went through our highlights. There's some low points, definitely.
Yeah.
What do you in the chat? What do you guys rate it? Before we do that, what do you rate it?
This episode, honestly, for me, gets a 1.
Wow.
It didn't go anywhere for me. It didn't do anything.
It didn't. This one didn't annoy me as much as the previous episode with the whole Justin thing, and I like Bulk and Skull, so instead of a 2, this one gets a 3.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to pull a Daniel here, and I think this episode's a little bit like it's on the low end for me. So I'm gonna definitely give it a 5 because the Phantom Ranger.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. And you're like, yeah, so I'm going to have to give it a 5.
That's what Daniel did. He was like, I hated all this stuff. Let me get a 4.
Remember
I
that
was like,
time I did that?
there are notes to this episode, though, before we get to your guys' thoughts. Notes, this episode is the only appearance the Blue Centurion makes during the Phantom Ranger period.
Okay.
It's also revealed that the Power Rangers can teleport to any place that they know of or remember.
Yes.
Bulk and Skull resume includes or mentions the junior detective that
Yeah.
they were during Zeo. Now, errors in this episode were when the Phantom Ranger leaves, TJ asks Cassie who was that guy, in spite of having first seen him and thanking him during the last episode.
Right.
Bulk misspells his first name on his resume, Farcus, Farcus. It's
No
K.
K.
Yeah.
Okay.
3 rocks appear in the power chamber when it's made invisible. The Turbo Navigator has a silver lid in the U.S. footage, while Car Ranger footage had a black C on the emblem. Ashley told TJ that the Translucitor was at 8 o'clock when the monster was at 5 o'clock. And despite...
Yeah, but
Oh.
in the tree.
3 hours ahead of time, maybe. She's in the future. Despite not being on East Coast time. Despite not being able to find Translucitor previously, the Turbo Navigator was just able to do it out of the blue. And this is because this was an adjustment by the unmorphed female Rangers, so it was unusable.
Got it.
Now, very interesting here. Therese does say, I thought the guy from VR Troopers did the voice.
No, he did the voice of the Gold Ranger.
That's right. That's what I thought. Kamen Rider Blue, Blur 01 gives it a 1. Jared Hodges gives it a 1. Let me see. Yeah, guys, we already.
No one
found out
even
that
wanted to
wrong.
rate it. They're being like, Layla.
Oh my
don't
gosh!
even
Yeah,
bother.
right. Like
Don't even
one for Blackwing, Phantom Ranger doesn't say this episode. 5 from Therese. Maybe the Phantom Ranger is Zach's cousin that came to visit him.
Well, then he'd be sorely disappointed because Zach was in Switzerland
Yeah, he's like,
at a peace
"Zach,
conference.
what's going on?"
That
Still.
family definitely needs to communicate.
That's why he's not talking to anyone. They're like, "Who are you?" He just walks away disappointed. You're not Zach.
I don't know, but Jason came back, so maybe the rest of them are back, but they don't
Maybe.
talk to him because
They're
they're not
like-
Rangers anymore.
Right.
Senior year is a thing. 5 out of 5. Oh yeah, she got accepted into college.
Congratulations.
Layla. That's right. Congratulations.
Alright.
And let me see. And Edward Sanchez gives it a 4.
So yeah, I mean, solid ratings. Now let me say this: the year 3000 in Power Rangers continuity is a place I wouldn't want to live in. Society genetically engineered babies to perfection to give them special traits. I'm not going to go into this article. The whole point of this is that the villain was definitely not a bad guy. All you people on Time Force are lemmings. Lemmings, I tell
There's
you.
still ratings going. Arturo Beltran gives it a 3. Thomas Franco gives it a 1.5. Cat Yellow Ranger gives
Thank
it
you.
a
Did you get one
3.
too?
No, I still have mine.
So people are going with it right now. My goodness.
Before we get into our next episode,
Yes.
chat me up about Power Rangers Cosmic Protectors and what it is.
Nice.
It is a motion comic and audio drama put on by the people at the Illuminati.
Damn it, I forgot to do the presented by Illuminati thing.
Yeah.
Well, the show is also
well.
presented by the Illuminati, so there you go. Yeah, but we're working super hard on it. I've been reading more of the Power Rangers comic books, and I'm hoping that ours is going to be as compelling and, like, just based off of the line sketches and stuff. I hope you guys really enjoy it.
Just wait till you read episode 2.
Yeah, and we are all voices in the first issue, so
Yeah,
stay tuned
definitely.
for
I mean,
that.
it's something that's going to actually give fans something that they've been wanting, they've been asking for, and that means more depth, more character development, and yet still be entertained and see something that's cool. And that's what we're doing. We're following the same kind of way as the comics doing, but we're trying to take it a step further.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people from that hashtag show. It's a lot of
right.
our friends and
Well, I
people that
mean,
we know. And it's actually
but
going to
some-
be featuring at least one Ranger for issue number 1, and we announced that last Sunday.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
yes, there are multiple Rangers planned for this, but
But for issue 1 specifically.
exactly. Well, yeah, for issue for every Ranger we're going to introduce is going to be a part of this world. Every Ranger is going to be a part of this world.
Yes.
So it's figuring out where they are. But some of our friends have done stuff that you would know in different fields. They're celebrities in their own right, and they are going to be a part of this as well.
Stellar.
And we are we're going to pull out all the stops. And again, I know because I was talking to Toku yesterday. He came into the office when we were there.
Oh, nice.
And he had said that that certain Power Ranger fans are not going to be cool with this because it's a crowdfunded thing. And it's like, well,
It's
the
not
only
crowdfunded.
the only difference is it's not necessarily, because regardless of if we make a goal or not, it's going to come out.
Yeah.
And it's going to come out when we have them come out. They're going to come out.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what goals we make because they're going to come out. 'Cause it's something we actually are passionate about and want to do.
That's right.
Your support just makes it go a little bit faster or maybe
right.
ups the quality.
That's
Ups
right.
the quality. I'm
Yeah.
telling you guys right now. Eventually,
So people are asking, when will the fan questions for Jackie be released? Now, I understand that's something that will be
That's a
released
Jezer question.
first.
It'll
It's
be
first
for
going to
Morphin
on
Monday,
Patreon,
but
it's going to be on Patreon first.
it'll be on Patreon first.
well, every
Saturday-
Morphin Monday is actually on Patreon first.
That's
Yes.
true.
I don't know if you guys, any of you guys that aren't Patreon subscribers, they get Morphin Mondays at least a week ahead of you guys.
At least a week.
So,
sometimes even.
Like,
sometimes
I think
even
that
earlier.
Justin interviewed Brandon J. McLaren. Our Patreon subscribers are going to get that first.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else will get it then after. So, it's just more. I have this thing going on with the beer. So, anyway, it's just more incentive for you guys to join up with Patreon.
You guys are asking really good questions, and I wish that you were also a Patreon subscriber.
We did a
Because
AMA yesterday.
We did an AMA yesterday.
Some of these we'll field them.
questions-
Why not? We gotta promote.
Okay, well, they're asking one. Will you guys be killing Rangers too?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, I was gonna say that's something that maybe we want to wait for.
No, it's gonna be a hard yes.
All right. Will Cosmic Protectors be more adult oriented with blood?
Here's my stance on this. It will have blood in it, but with that being said, we are going to make sure that we can clear it so every fan of all ages can still enjoy it, but it will be more complex storytelling.
Yes.
Blackman says, I want to see broken helmets and Cosmic Protectors.
Oh,
You'll see beyond that.
You will see that. You definitely will see that.
Definitely.
I'm excited for it. Both of you guys have
Yeah.
done voice work
Oh,
for it
yeah.
already. I'm doing mine today, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're doing.
I got some
You have an
additional.
additional
Yeah.
stuff today, but Tracy Lynn Cruz has already been announced as being our first Ranger. That's going to be on our very first episode.
That's right.
And as you progress with our story, you'll definitely see more pop up and the return of Tracy.
Yes.
So and also this is going to take place in the year 2030, and it is, if you guys have read Soul of the Dragon from Boom Studios, it'll take place right in that era. So a lot of Rangers are going to pop in and pop out, and if you want to be a Ranger, look, we already have Rangers coming back, but if you want to be a Ranger with them, check out our Patreon, and you can definitely be written into this and even voice your own character.
Definitely.
But check out our Patreon; it's all there.
Like for example, right now, Common Rider Blur01 says he's thinking about possibly upping it, and next month he's gonna try to go for Gold Ranger tier.
Nice.
See, that's not bad. I mean, there are a lot of benefits that go on with upping your subscription, or just even simply subscribing to Cosmic Protectors Patreon.
Matthew Thompson asks, will Cosmic Protectors blow our mind and melt our faces? I think so.
Yes, buddy. Definitely.
I don't want my face melted.
When will Jess's character design be posted on Patreon? Well, great question. We actually have this ready to go.
Ah, nice.
But it will be posted on...
It's going to be posted on our Patreon first.
Patreon first. But I know you're a patron, so you'll be getting it first. But we'll debut the black and white right here next week on the Retro Ranger wrap-up. But for all of you guys that are Patreon subscribers in that tier, you guys will get the colored version.
Yes.
And actually, Jessica's going to be introing her own character.
Nice.
Right now, we're going to have everybody intro their characters
Yeah.
and what they're doing. And there'll be a small clip of her doing some of the voice of the character as well. That's right. So you'll get a little taste of what we're doing together.
Nice.
That's right. I love it.
So let's move on to our last episode of this week.
When time freezes over.
All right. Daniel, what's this episode about?
So, this episode is about, and I don't understand why, is it Divatox? Yeah,
Yep,
Divatox. Divatox has a plan hatched where she is going to freeze the sun. Essentially, stop it from burning. And that will,
Which I think is a brilliant plan. If she had this in her back pocket, why is this not one of the first things you do if you want to conquer Earth?
My question is, why though? What's the drive for that?
I don't know.
She still has to be there
if she's
on
trying
Earth while
to...
she's doing it.
Well, that was the other thing, too. My other question is, like, you can't launch this from anywhere else other than Earth, and you can't put your headquarters, like, not on Earth.
Not on Earth? I mean, you're a space pirate. You can go
yeah, and I feel like Demetria probably knows where she is since they're, like, twins or whatever, and it's just like, why don't you just go bomb the lake?
Do you guys get the feeling that Demetria is always on... Not Demetria, I'm sorry. Divatox is always on the verge of, like, fumbling and bumbling, almost beating the Rangers, and then somehow the rug gets pulled on her. Like,
I don't even think she comes close. I don't even think she ever comes close. This is the closest I feel like she's been.
Well,
this does feel close.
I agree.
Wait till the finale.
Yeah, and now
this is the only time where I was like, "Ooh, this seems like a good plan that will like impact the entire Earth."
Hey, well,
this is Rita level.
How
planning.
else is she going to have the time to rob a bank like Ocean's 11 and take over the world? You can only do so much in a day.
I guess so.
So she chooses.
And she lives at the bottom of Angel Grove Lake. I don't understand how.
It's not even the ocean. It's a lake where everybody swims every summer.
That's my biggest problem about this. Is
that's why I'm like the Power Rangers probably know where she lives.
It's like, let's just freeze the lake. Freeze the lake.
Or drain the lake and let's apprehend her.
There you go. But hey, you know what? They have that same kind of idea that Zordon does. We don't go to the villains. Let the villains come down.
Oh, you know what?
No, they just don't kill the villains. They can go there.
You're reading Go-Go.
Yeah, I'm reading Go-Go.
I'm not sure if it's Go-Go or Mighty Morphin, but in one of the Boom Studios comics, it's kind of not really a spoiler, but
it doesn't matter.
Baby Rita kind of
I've seen Baby Rita and her relationship with Zordon.
So that's the reason why she never attacked the Rangers' parents.
Yeah.
However, that's not true.
Oh.
So when the Green Ranger comes back for Return of an Old Friend, the whole thing is Goldar kidnaps all the parents.
Yeah.
And they give up the power coins.
That's right. Yeah. Remember? Yeah.
To get their parents
But she wasn't actually going to harm them. She, kept them safe.
She didn't keep them safe. That's true.
Book and Skull were there, too.
I know. They're, feeding them like Nightcore. They're like, no, leave us in this dark dimension.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
No, but that's the one thing that I just realized. Like, oh, wow. It makes sense in theory. Because we had Ryan Parrott on the show. Dude, I love talking to Ryan. He writes Go-Go.
Yeah.
He's amazing. This is why I feel confident in Cosmic Protectors, because he's been giving me a lot of advice.
Nice.
And we were at Comic-Con together, and he was like, listen, as we talked about one of the storylines that he's doing, and then he was like, you know what I love talking to you is because you have the mind of a writer. I was like, well, I'm not really a writer. He's like, but you talk like one. So then when I was kind of pitching everything with Cosmic Protectors, he's like, this is great. And he goes, if I steal any of that, I'm just... But he's a great guy. I love having Ryan on the show. And once we get later on in Necessary Evil, we'll bring him back.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's such a cool dude.
Oh,
go ahead.
Now, with this episode, one thing that I did mention, once again, think about this. So we have the Rangers fighting her already, and they are coming to a point where they're not going to win, right? So then we have to introduce Blue Centurion
Yep.
And on top of that, the Phantom Ranger.
He just comes in.
All these people have to come in and join and work together to stop this person that we think is pretty much incapable of winning.
But this is like the first time.
But think about that. We've had other villains, and we haven't had to have this giant.
Well, she's actually
giant,
gonna freeze the
thing.
sun, which is like gonna.
So her plan
like,
was going really well.
cataclysmic
Smart
reactions to
That's what I'm
Earth.
saying. Yeah, her plan is going pretty well.
Yeah.
She's creating or amassing forces that are making it so hard for them to win that they have to add in other people. So now I ask the question of, we were talking about how incapable she is. Rethink it.
She is
may be
incapable.
very capable.
My question is, where do these monsters come from? Because Rita, she made them. Lord Zed will pick an
Oh,
item
look
and
at them, she
transform
calls.
them.
And they're
She-
aliens.
she-
monsters.
okay, so the
aliens.
aliens. She calls.
That's
She calls.
That's a Cosmic
That's a
Protector
Cosmic
thing.
Protector thing.
I know.
We're not
okay.
calling them monsters
Not
anymore.
calling
They're
monsters,
aliens.
they're aliens.
Monsters going to be a racist term.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. So the alien, so this Clockster comes down, right, with his cute little watermelons dangling from his head.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite monsters
Yeah.
right now. But so he calls in and he was like, yeah, all right, I could do this for her. But it's not Divatox that's strong. It's Clockster that almost takes
Very
over.
true, but-
Divatox is still like, I'm just calling everyone and you're next on my phone list because your name starts with a C.
Well,
I don't
no.
know. I'm a pirate.
Once she figured out she couldn't win, she was like, "Oh, time," because Elgar said something. She goes,
Yeah, rewind.
"Time." And that's what she goes into her Rolodex
Yeah.
and calls him.
So I have a
She
question,
knows what
and
to
this is
do.
going to be off topic from this episode, but it
All right.
actually sparked. It's still Power Rangers Turbo.
Okay.
So I know that you're upset that Justin stayed.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's say, in theory, that that because Tommy or Jason Dave Frank was the only one that wanted to leave. Let's say the other three stayed, but they also got Austin St. John back. Which Ranger would be which color? And would you have kept Justin? And who? And out of the four that got brought in, if you don't keep Justin, who would you have brought in to replace him?
Wait, so the question is, so there's Austin St. John, the original...
Red Ranger,
Yeah.
and Gold Ranger. So Jason David Frank's the only one that leaves.
Okay.
In this fantasy scenario.
Okay.
So he's the only one that leaves. However,
So Tommy leaves.
and we'll say you have Austin St. John to pick from because he came back for the movie, but you also have the four Rangers to pick from that actually did take a place. So what would you have done with the cast?
I probably
you
would
do?
have bumped Adam up because I think
To red?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Adam should have been red. I
So
feel
we'll
like
say
he needs
Kat
a-
stays pink.
Yeah.
Tanya stays yellow.
Yeah.
What would you have done with blue and green?
I guess green would have went to Jason just to kind of even it out with him and
Austin
Tommy.
St. John, and you would and blue you would have kept his.
Yeah. I don't know. I would pick anyone else. Literally anybody else.
So which one of the four, Carlos or TJ?
Oh man. That's hard. I actually probably would have threw Ashley in and gave her a skirt or something.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
What would you have done?
Nice. Yes, I would have made. I would have made Jason the leader again. I would have put.
So
Adam
you'd have
as
put
second.
Jason as red.
Yeah, I would have put
Interesting.
Adam. I would have left Adam as green, be my second.
Okay.
I would have also brought TJ in, and he would be my blue, and I'd get rid of Justin. And for my yellow and pink, I would actually still keep Ashley as my yellow, and for my pink, I would actually turn.
Oh, so you would have got rid of the girls too.
No. Well, oh yeah.
'Cause you have-
Well,
you have
true,
Tanya and
true,
Kat.
True, yeah. Boom, they're gone. I would have brought Ashley in as my yellow, and for my pink,
Boom, they're gone.
Yeah, for my pink, I would have actually made
Cassie?
Cassie. Yes, to
I
my
do
pink.
want to see Cassie
That would be
develop,
my
like
team.
her beginning thing where it's like, oh, I don't want to do this, but her desire to be friends and to be a good person always brings her back. So I
Yes.
do kind of want to see her, but I'm just like, I don't know.
See, I think I would have had Adam be red. I wouldn't have brought Jason back. I'd have had Adam be red. Tanya still be yellow.
Okay.
I would have brought in Kat. I actually would have brought in Ashley as pink.
That's true because I talk so much shit about Kat. You're right. Yeah.
I would have brought in Ashley as pink and had her leave with Tommy
Uh-huh.
off into the sunset, and I had Carlos as blue, and that would have been my team.
Hey, that actually sounds pretty good. I like that Tommy and Kat leave and we get rid of that whole
Right.
the issues that we talk about every
They
single
can live
week.
happily ever after.
Yeah.
But then you would have blossomed the Tanya and Adam relationship more.
Yeah.
To be the new Tommy and Kat, and I think it would have been.
And I
would've
feel
been
like since
better.
they spar together too, it probably would have went along the lines more of like go at that point.
Right, and especially with TJ, I would have had TJ be the new blue,
Yeah.
and Carlos be the new green.
Oh.
And then yeah, I'd had
Okay.
Blake or Justin to leave as well.
Now, here's a question.
It's just weird. It's not against him as like an actor or anything. It's just the writing for that character and the dynamics between them and the older kids. It just does not
work.
It doesn't
It
work.
It doesn't work when they're playing basketball and they
Or,
have to play
yeah,
with
when they're playing
terrible.
soccer and it
Oh,
feels like
jeez.
Carlos is coming off as like, it's very bizarre.
Yeah,
like,
it's a weird thing. Like, they can never genuinely be friends. They always have to be the mentor
Yeah,
to Justin. And
yeah.
it's like, you don't get that kind of cool dynamic of, like, they're just hanging out.
My question, just on this episode,
Okay.
was why won't Jerome stop being a dick and just hire Bulk and Skull to work at his freaking juice bar cafe gym?
That is a good question, because they were working there when they were chimps. And
Yes!
Doing
I'm
all
like,
this stuff.
dude, so why can't you? They're good enough to work there when they're chimps, but not when they're people.
how dare you?
How dare you? That's what I'm saying.
Chimps are people too.
Yeah, hey, well, they're not as good as what you can actually get from people that speak and actually deal with the service at your juice bar, gym, fitness, cafe.
And I also like when they came back, everyone was like, where have you been? We haven't been looking for you at all.
Oh, right? It was like, yeah, and they weren't going to really, we were monkeys. They're like, nah, forget it. I'm not even going to answer. Just, I don't know.
But their
I don't know.
parents, and I feel like because we got to see Bulk and Skull's parents at some point, and
At
they're
one
very,
time?
Mighty
they're
Morphin.
very doting parents. So it's just
Yeah.
like, it's a weird thing. But also their parents didn't know that Goldar and what's his name,
Yeah,
Rito,
we're
like in the garage
or
for like
whatever.
a whole
I don't-
season. So I don't know. Maybe they're not as doting as I think they are.
Oh boy.
And why wasn't the command center affected by the time warp?
It just because
magical,
robot and
Well, I'm wondering
yeah.
because it's a command center and
I guess
it's
so.
able to kind of keep away.
I guess,
that kind of,
and they have force fields and stuff, and I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a weird.
Power Ranger
that's
logic.
That's a very
Ranger
fascinating
logic.
question that needs to be explored. Yeah. All right. So we know what this episode was. What do you have highlights?
Not really. Well, other than the Phantom Ranger actually speaking in this episode, I mean,
Yes.
there's not a huge highlight for me. And Divatox, I was like, Clockster, you're so cute. Why are there melons on your head? But I like him because he almost won.
He did. He
Yeah,
did.
this out of the three, this is definitely my favorite episode. It
I
had like
agree.
the most suspense for it. Yeah, I don't know. Thought it was pretty good.
Well, let's go over it.
Yeah.
Rank it, rate it in the chat. I'm gonna go over some notes and errors.
Yeah.
First of all, what do you give this?
If I had to give this episode a rating, because it looks like the villains came close to winning, even when their plan didn't work, they came up with another one right away to still look like they were winning. I love that whole part. I love building up and giving me so much. The Phantom Ranger was able to speak a little bit more, got some more interest or insight on him. So this episode gets a 4.
How about you?
Yeah, I want to say this episode also gets a 4. One of the other things I actually forgot to mention is so they rewired the freeze key and now it makes popsicles. I feel like that's dangerous.
It's
And
so dangerous
and they
'cause
did
someone could
address
just
it
show up and-
like rewire it and they're like, end of episode. And I was like,
You're
I was
like,
like, this better come back into play with the Phantom Ranger, but I'm pretty sure because it's Power Rangers, it's not. But, I had a lot of fun in this episode. It was the most riveting out of all three, so it's
Yeah.
on its way up. I give it a 4.
I'm gonna give it a 1.
You're a liar.
Plus 4 makes 5. So that's what we're gonna give this episode. Now, for some of the notes, we have during the time rewind montage, footage of Kat doing her dive is recycled from Mighty Morphin's A Different Shade of Pink.
yeah.
Also, the surfboard scene is recycled from Zio's Oily to Bed, Oily to Rise. This episode is the last episode when Carol Holt plays Divatox. Hilary Shepard Turner resumes her role starting in the next episode, while Holt remains with the show as Demetria for the rest of the season.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
She's like,
So they're
that's
not going to be twinsies anymore. They're going to be
exactly.
just ever so slightly different.
The episode
That's right.
title reference to a more rude expression of when hell freezes over, typically said in response to something or someone that has said that and responding to believe something that's so ridiculous. Errors in this episode is Justin asks who the Phantom Ranger is. He's met him twice now. Obviously, nobody knows who the fuck he is. And the shot of the motorway when Clockster turned back time was obviously stock footage.
Oh, yeah.
Not really an error, but it is stock
Yeah.
footage. One thing also about Turbo that I just realized is that the whole Divatox Demetria twin thing never is revealed.
and their sister.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that.
Not even twins, but maybe potentially sisters.
That whole plot line is never revealed.
And
It
like
showed up for
what
a
you said,
second.
you mentioned one time that Dimitri is just gonna stop the questioning thing, and I feel like it's already
done.
It's done.
It's already been done.
Yeah. It's so weird. Like, you can't stick to your own continuity. Come on,
No,
writers.
they were just like, we're done with
Come
this.
on.
What time we leaving today? All right.
Well, you know what? In space, it's funny because they must have learned from this. Because in space, they must have thought, because what Power Rangers in space is completely different than what it was in the Sentai.
Okay.
So they must have just taken it and been like, we're gonna do something completely different because that didn't work.
With space, was it also a worry that they were like, oh, this is the last season?
Yeah, space was definitely supposed to be the last.
Every
season.
time when I've noticed that every time when they think it's the last season, they push and they like, oh, okay.
Well,
Make it
they let the creators really create, and like
That's what they need to be doing. If writers are hired to write, let them write.
Right.
so. If you look at space was going to be the end of the franchise and was one of the best seasons, and then it got renewed, and then after that, Wild Force got sold, or Disney. It was a transition between Disney's Wild Force and then became Ninja Steel or Ninja Storm. And then it was going to end at RPM, and RPM happened to be one of the best seasons.
Okay.
Then after that, right now, it was going. It was supposed to be like, all right, Power Rangers, Ninja Steel didn't do what we wanted it to do. Now it might be the end of the live action series as we know it. And Beast Morphers is pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like every time it's like threatened to be the end, that season ends up being overwhelmingly
Makes
good.
no sense, and they don't see that. I don't understand how they don't see that as a franchise.
All right, go ahead.
So, ratings. Cat Yellow Ranger, 3. Edward Sanchez gives it a 4. Blackwing, I have no rating, 5, because I really don't care.
Just like Time Force,
Larry
that's what I
Newbill,
feel
4. Yeah, whoa. Larry Newbill gives it a 4. Let me see what else we got. Jared Hodge is a 4. Layla, I'm here because I love THS, out of 5. Common Writer Blur 01 gives it a 4. One of my most watched episodes, he says. Seal Moore gives it an 8, so that's going to translate to a 4. Blackwing doesn't. Blackwing's still my thing. I love it still. I'm giving it out of a 5. Tom Craven is a 3, and that's it. So okay, all right.
It was middle of the road. I don't know. Like at this point, because I mean, it kind of sucks that I already know this isn't going anywhere. But not watching this, I still kind of had that subtle expectation of like, yes, we're gonna know who the Phantom Ranger is. This is all gonna get better. We're getting to kind of know the other characters a little bit more. But I feel like it's not as good as Zeo. Like the introductions and development of these characters. Like I have not latched on to a single one of these yet. Versus immediately, I was like, I love Adam. Like Tanya. Like I love Tanya, especially Like,
I agree.
There's certain characters that they just get the development. I feel like none of these so far have gotten that special treatment.
I feel like, and it's interesting because the one thing that, what, Ryan Parrott said this when we were talking. It was on our podcast, which is going to air at some point. He said that if you can have all of your characters in a scene, because the way that you write comics, and something I learned from him, is that it has to be from left to right. So for us right now, if we were all characters in a comic book, we'd have to write it like Daniel speaks first, I speak second, you speak third. Yeah. Because that's the way people read comics. That's the way you read word bubbles.
You got to do the speed, speech bubbles.
So if you think about that and you say, oh man, I put a character in the wrong place. But if you can give them the same dialogue, you're doing it wrong. Because if I said like, hey, I hate Power Rangers Turbo or whatever, Time Force. Right. And said, yo, you know what? That was actually supposed to be Daniel's line. Can we change it? It shouldn't be that way. It has to sound completely different. So this is one of those scenarios when we get to the crossover with Power Rangers, is that does TJ sound different than Tommy or Jason?
As far as right now, I feel like none of them really have identifiable personalities except for their initial introduction. Right. Carlos, I thought, stuck out because like Adam's like, oh, I can see that you grew and you're maturing and you're becoming a team player, and I felt like he did deserve to be part of the Power Rangers. Same thing with Ashley, where it's like, oh, I'm a cheerleader, I'm going to help these people. Like, all of them initially, like, piqued my interest, and none of them are developed anymore, I feel like, than their initial introduction. It's weird.
That was a halt. We did, now let's continue on and just fill in the blanks.
And I feel like Justin should have been the one to kind of teach them the ropes, because they just switched, and everyone left, and he was the only one that's like, hey, like, I know I'm the youngest one here, but I've been around for a while, and this is the way things... And, like, I wanted him to kind of step up and be, like, a bigger man, considering he's just a child, and they didn't give that to him either.
No.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel that they could have... Imagine if they would have had Justin kind of being like, still this kid, but he kind of tells them like, well, we used to do this, we used to do that, and he would have been the one actually teaching them.
Yeah.
I think it would have played better for that character.
It would have, and I feel like some of them, like maybe even TJ is like, I'm the Red Ranger. Like, if you're so smart, like, why didn't they make you the Red Ranger and have that kind of conflict? And for Justin to turn out to be correct, and that'll help him grow, make him kind of like leader quality, you know. And they like gain the respect of the child, or like they respect the child or whatever. And it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff they could have did. Yeah, and I don't know. It's just a little.
But I will say, once they get to space, you definitively see the difference in the characters.
Okay.
And I think that shines through and through. Power Rangers in space, and Power Rangers, I would say Power Rangers SPD, and Power Rangers RPM, and even I would put Beast Morphers in there, and Zeo. They're the best written Power Ranger seasons.
Okay. I really did like Zeo.
I thought Zeo, like, and it dives in, like, it makes you care about Adam.
Adam for sure was the standout star.
Well, and also, you get more character development with Tanya in one episode, in the first episode, than you do with
and I
Aisha
love Tanya
the whole
because
time.
Tanya is so confident, stands up for herself, knows what's right and wrong, and isn't
She's
afraid
sassy.
to just say it. She was like, I don't like that attitude. That's super sexist.
That's right.
Like, hey, you know what? Girls can do this too, and if you're not going to be a team player, then I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And her and Adam, I really wanted that relationship to develop because I think they were because he's so understated and not outspoken.
They're good for each other.
Yeah, but he has a skill, and they could have like,
him to actually like get out of his shell.
And this is
another
one where they take a character like Rocky and make him like not the best student, kind of like this goof off, dumb guy.
He's more relatable. You're like, you could be a ranger and be fun and maybe not have to be so.
Ryan
serious.
Parrott described Rocky to me as this. He said that Rocky's just the guy that's glad to be there.
Yes.
Like he's just the guy that's happy to be on the team.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, that's exactly who he is. And you have Tommy, who actually, and this is what I would say, is that when Tommy was the White Ranger, I don't feel like Tommy really, like, he didn't come into the leadership role then. It's when you get to Power Rangers Zeo that, yes, Tommy's clearly the leader. Not just is he the leader, but at that point in Zeo, I think he's a better leader than Jason was. Because in Mighty Morphin, I was just watching an episode with Mia, with my girlfriend's daughter, and it was like either the Green Candle or Return of an Old Friend, where Jason literally says, like, oh, we don't have enough power to use. So it's like, it doesn't matter. Well, let's just use them anyway.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, what?
Yeah.
You're doing what now? Whereas Tommy, I think, was a little bit more methodical. However, in the first part of Zeo, I think the real leader there is Billy. Like, Billy's still Tommy's kind of, like, go-to, like, hey, am I doing this right kind of guy. And I really like that dynamic.
Okay. I know everyone's been saying it, but I have to address it because finally someone did say something right. About it. Everyone keeps telling us, reminding us over and over and over, Sci-Fi is airing the 2017 Power Rangers movie. Everyone in the Ranger Nation knew it, but one thing that a lot of people didn't know was that if you do watch it, there is a moment where you will get a code for Legacy Wars. That's the only thing.
That game's still around?
Yeah, I know. But that's the only thing probably people wanted to know. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, because I'm like, by this point, everyone already owns it.
Yeah,
like, if you like it that much,
the movie, you've seen
you
it, it's on Hulu, it's everywhere. You
Yeah.
can just watch it anywhere. So I don't really care about watching it on TV.
Yeah.
I hate commercials.
Yeah, right?
I'll just pop in the Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's it. I'm good.
Yeah, that's going to do it for this week. Last plug, check out Cosmic Protectors. Elle,
Yes.
tell them.
Check out Cosmic Protectors.
There you go.
Yeah, head on over to Cosmic
Put our Patreon in there somewhere, Josh.
But yeah, if you ever want to go to Instagram, instead of contacting me through that, I'm not logged into my personal Instagram a lot of the time. So go to Cosmic Protectors. I love Power Ranger fan accounts. So if you have any suggestions, tag us in their photos or whatever. We love all of that. We're also on Patreon, and we are also on Facebook.
Yeah.
That is the other social media that kind of escaped my mind.
Yeah,
We're on
that's right.
Facebook. Yes.
And I'm interested to see, because somebody asked yesterday on our AMA, will there be like a Cosmic Protector shipping with characters? And there is. And you know how we figured that out is through, one time we asked on one of our shows, like, who
polls?
would you ship together on hashtag shows cast?
Yeah.
And they gave us an answer, one of them, it's almost like we listen to you guys, so that's going to be like a thing in this.
Definitely.
That'll be a lot of fun, but I can't wait till you guys get to space.
Oh man, is it Joe and Daniel? I feel like I vaguely remember that.
Oh,
I feel like you
man,
guys
I
were
remember
leading.
that. No,
I felt like
no.
for a little bit you guys were leading the polls.
The options really came down to I think one of them was Daniel and Sarah at the time.
Oh yeah.
Myself and Maverick. And there was what was the other one?
I don't remember.
There was one other one.
Was it Kelly and someone else?
Oh no.
Was it? Oh no.
No. It might have been actually you and Daryl, but I can't.
Oh.
I can't remember. But well, obviously, if I barely remember it, then it wasn't one of those two.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like in the chat, so I remember it's like Joe and Daniel will definitely be the ones together.
I was like, hey.
It's like the Steve Rogers and Bucky. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
But that's going to do it for this week's Retro Ranger wrap-up. Next week, we'll be talking more Phantom Ranger.
Yes.
And continuing our journey.
And you will definitely bring your suit next week.
Well, I'll bring the helmet.
At least the
I'm not going to bring this whole suit. It's too much to bring.
But coming up next, we will be having a live...
Jezra and Migdalia.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
that's
it. That's it. But coming up next, we will have live from Gallifrey, where Elle and myself will be discussing Love and Monsters. Now, this episode of Doctor Who...
We actually mean the word monsters. We don't mean aliens.
Exactly. This episode has a lot of either you love it or hate it, and you'll see exactly as to why. It's a great episode for us to talk to. So, when you guys get the chance, well, not even when you get the chance, just stay tuned, because we'll be bringing that up next.
All right, we'll see you there.
Exactly. So until then, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to keep up to date with everything trending
in geek pop culture.
Bye.